The wrong Medicare choice between Medicare and your current health insurance can cost you thousands of dollars. So in this video, I want to show you how to get this right so you're not wasting money or in the wrong health insurance plan. I'm Emily with the Medicare Coach, and over the last decade, I've helped over 100,000 people all across the country, including my parents, easily make their right Medicare decision with a proven process through the Medicare Coach. And I want to share with you, again, this inside tip around how to decide, are you better off on Medicare or on other health insurance? So Medicare is a little bit unique in that Medicare rules say by the time you're 65, you must either be on Medicare or on an employer health insurance plan that meets Medicare rules. So what does this mean? I oftentimes see people come to me with, say, employer health insurance, either theirs or a spouse's, a retiree plan, a marketplace plan, a private plan, a Medi-Share plan, a Medicaid plan, an international plan, any of those things. And they want to understand, do they have to join Medicare or can they stay on their old plan? So I want to go through each of these types of insurances step by step, as they all have kind of different rules as to how to decide what makes the most sense for you. But we have to get it right at 65 to avoid lifetime penalties. So let's kind of hop into this in more detail. If you have employer health insurance, I will always ask you initially, one, does your employer plan meet Medicare's rules? I cover this in more detail in other videos, but if it meets Medicare rules, then you could delay Medicare past 65. But I don't stop my questions there. I have two more important questions. Number one, what is the cost of your employer health insurance? What are the premiums? What are the deductibles? What are the out-of-pockets? What are the copays? And are you hitting those high costs on any given year? Even though your employer plan might meet Medicare rules or does meet Medicare rules, you might be better off joining Medicare based on one, cost, and two, doctor's coverage. I will also ask you, do you have other family members on that employer health insurance plan? And you leaving that employer plan could impact your spouse or your kids, any of those things. If so, that is one more thing to consider as long as your employer plan still meets Medicare rules, okay? So again, for those of you who love your employer health insurance, you might be able to keep it, you might not. And so we want to be clear as to what the rules are. Does the employer plan meet Medicare rules? And decide your next best steps. Now, if you have a retiree health insurance plan, I'll ask a couple of things. Number one, does that retiree plan require you to join Medicare Part A and or B? Most retiree plans do require Medicare A and B once you are eligible for Medicare. So even though you might not want to join Medicare, the retiree plan might require it. I have seen a few retiree plans that do not require that, but most do require Medicare A and B, and by doing so, it saves your retiree plan millions of dollars every single year, okay? I will also ask, what are the coverage rules, right? So maybe your retiree plan does require A and B, that's very common. I will then say, well, what are the details of your retiree plan? Some retiree plans are structured like Medicare Advantage. Some plans are structured like Medicare, like original Medicare with a supplement. I want to know, what are the rules of the plans? How is it structured? Because not all retiree plans are your best option. This is important to look at because people assume that their retiree benefits are the best, and that's not always the case. For example, we oftentimes have teacher retirement plans, and many of those teacher retirement plans are structured like Medicare Advantage plans that are not great. So if our client has that Advantage retiree plan, they might say, you know what, between the cost and the coverage, I'd rather opt out of my retiree health insurance and just fully join Medicare. We have other clients, though, who are federal employees, and some of those federal employee retiree plans can be fantastic with Medicare. And so with them, we might still have them keep their retiree plan, maybe make a few tweaks, but also join Medicare Part A and B. I had another client, Craig, who works for a corporation. He actually had a really bad retiree package that I would not normally recommend, but because his wife is not yet 65, we kept him on that retiree plan for a couple more years, and we'll address the next steps when that retiree plan ends. Also, look to see, does that retiree plan cover any spouses or family members once you pass away? We've had clients on certain plans that when the spouse passes away, the other remaining spouse is no longer with health insurance, and it's an absolute nightmare. We had a professor who had the situation. He was a professor at a university. He passed away. As soon as he passed, his wife instantly lost her health insurance. It was not great. So again, please be thoughtful and thorough around your retiree plans to make that right decision, as they're not as simple as they were when it was an active employer plan. All right. Now, if you have a marketplace plan, also sometimes called an Obamacare plan, we have to look at a couple of things. Most people who want to keep their marketplace plan after 65 want to do so because as of now, it's quite inexpensive for them. And if Obamacare marketplace plan is inexpensive for you, it's likely because you have a subsidy. You've qualified for a subsidy for a various reason. Those subsidies almost always expire once you turn 65. So people who want to keep that marketplace plan, I say, if you have a subsidy, that will go away at 65. And if they forget to undo that subsidy, they will ask you later on for those costs to pay for that coverage after 65. Those plans are usually between $700 and $1,000, if not more, a month per person. So usually marketplace plans do not make sense once you turn 65 when you are eligible for Medicare. So most of our clients will join Medicare and they will cancel their marketplace plan a couple weeks before their Medicare starts. So they have continuous coverage. The marketplace ends at the end of the month and Medicare starts on the first day of the next month. But again, if you're on a marketplace plan, you are likely going to cancel that plan at 65 and join Medicare instead. Now, if you have a private plan or a Medi-Share plan, these do not meet Medicare rules. And even when looking at costs, it usually makes sense to drop that private plan or that Medi-Share plan for you and fully join Medicare. Now, the beautiful thing about a private plan or a Medi-Share plan is that your family members, if they're on it, can simply keep that plan. You will tell the insurance company, drop me, I'm joining Medicare, but keep my family covered. And that's usually not an issue at all. So be aware of that. Now, if you're on Medicaid, you are likely also still joining Medicare. Medicaid does not meet Medicare rules. With that said, if you qualify for Medicaid at 65, you are called dual eligible. And in this case, while you will join Medicare, Medicaid will cover your Medicare costs, your Medicare Part B costs is usually the big one. And you will also have special Medicare Advantage plans to join. So again, even if you're on Medicaid, you are likely still joining Medicare. And finally, we have clients who are living overseas. They're living and working overseas, and they're saying, okay, do I have to join Medicare? And my answer is, it depends. But most of those international health insurance plans do not meet the US Medicare rules. So I have a client who's in Ireland. She's working in Ireland. She has health insurance through a company there. But that Ireland health insurance plan does not meet Medicare rules. So because this person wants to move back to the US in the future, in order for her to keep her access to Medicare without lifetime penalties, she must still join at least Medicare Part A and B and likely at least a D, if not more plans, at 65 to reserve those rights. So if you have international coverage, there are some unique rules to be aware of to make sure you have complete coverage and avoid lifetime penalties. So Medicare and insurance is complicated. It doesn't have to be, but those are some really good benchmarks to think about as you're deciding, are you better off on Medicare or are you better off on your other health insurance? The real only group that can fully delay Medicare is usually those employer health insurance plans that meet Medicare rules. In most cases, the retirees are still joining Medicare Part A and B. The marketplace is also the private plans, the Medi-Share plans, the Medicaid, as well as the international coverage plan. So most of you will join Medicare at 65, but there can be some exceptions for both employer plans and certain retiree plans. So I know this is a lot. I covered a lot, but Medicare has so many rules. It's good to know how they work now to avoid surprises later on. Now, in the section below, I'm going to add some extra resources down there to make Medicare simple and easy for you. So check those out and make sure you follow along for more inside tips. Here's helping you easily make your right Medicare decision.